Alright, to start our Digitama, we are running 4 of the new Baby Betamon. Only baby you need. I wouldn't look at anything else. This is what you want. On all turns, what's returned when a Digimon with Germon or Examon in its name. So it's this Digimon, not when a Digimon. That should be errated. Becomes unsuspended. This Digimon gains 1k DP for the turn. This is incredibly relevant for the deck, especially when you're blocking, swinging. You need it. So this is what you're gonna run. 4 of these guys. Then for the baby or for the rookies, we have 4 of the new Dracomon. He digivolves for 0 on top of a Baby Betamon, so he'll always be free. If for some reason you were digivolving on top of a different level 2, that's not a Baby Betamon, it would cost you 1. On play, reveal top 4 cards of the deck, add 1 green or blue card with Germon in his name, and 1 card with Examon in his name among them to your hand, and then put the rest at the bottom of the deck. Obviously, it's a premium searcher. You can search for literally anything in the deck aside from the 3 Madoki Betamons that are in the deck, so that's obviously useful. It's inheritable all turns. When one of your Digimon with Germon or Examon in his name becomes suspended, this Digimon gains 1k DP for the turn. So you have the baby that gives you the DP upon unsuspend, and then you have Draco that gives it to you upon suspend. So just keep that in mind. I also just realized that because of Baby Betamon, during your unsuspend phase, you would gain the 1k as well on that stack. So that could be relevant. All right, next level 3s that we're playing are 4 of the original or the other Dracomon from Starter Deck 8. This Dracomon, he's good, but sometimes he can be frustrating. He does not search for Examons. He only searches for Germons. So you reveal the top 3 cards, add 1 Digimon card with Germon in the name, and the rest go to the bottom of the deck. So there are a few times where I have used this and an Examon's been in there, and it had to go to the bottom, and that can suck sometimes. This is another reason why I feel like, and we'll get to it in a bit, you should run 4 Examon. I don't think you should run 3. I don't think you should run any less than 4 personally. But that could just be me. I would definitely recommend, because of this card and some of the other cards like it, to running the 4 Examon. But yeah, Dracomon, standard searcher. Next, we are running 3 Madoki Betamon. You could really change this out for whatever rookie you think you'll need for your locals. But currently, given how Bloom Lordmon loves to gain memory, Jessmon loves to gain memory, Madoki Betamon is a great way of saying no. Also, with Blue Flare, you can shut that shit down in terms of the blazing memory boost and gaining memory. So Madoki Betamon just seemed like a really good choice. I'm considering when the Bluecomon promo comes out that I don't know when that's going to happen, but it has a security effect of after battle it comes to hand, you draw 2 cards. I might swap this out for that when that comes out over stateside, but for now, we're running 3 Madoki Betamon. There's really not much else to say about Madoki Betamon. Next, this is a Corgemon party. We have 4 of the new Corgemon from EX3. This is the green one. He digivolves for 2 on top of a Dracomon, and then 3 on top of any other blue or green Digimon. This is not really an issue, aside from the fact that the only thing you'll be digivolving on that wouldn't be that would be the Madoki Betamons. That might happen like once or twice. I think we've had a ton of test games, and I've literally only done it 1 time. So you may have to do that. He has blocker naturally, and then his inheritable is blocker, so long as that Digimon is a Germon or an Examon. Next, we have 4 of the new Corgemon, the blue Corgemon from the X3. He is the exact same as the green Corgemon, only he provides evade as an inheritable for your Examon and your Germons, and then he has the natural effect of evade. If you don't know what evade does, if the Digimon would be deleted, you can suspend him to prevent the deletion. So let's say, you know, your opponent's playing Jessmon, they go into Savior, then they go into Jessmon to try and blitz into Corgemon. You can suspend Corgemon to stop the deletion. If they did that with Jessmon X, because he wasn't deleted, they won't get the piercing effect, so it can be relevant there. Also, with evade, keep in mind that it technically cannot protect you from, or it can't protect you outright from DP reduction. So if, you know, let's say somebody plays something that's overkill, like, I don't know. Well, actually, here's a good example. Let's say somebody plays Flame Hell Scythe, right? You suspend this down, you can avoid deletion initially, but then you're still going to die because you are at 0 DP. This is relevant, however, if you have, let's say, Baby Domons underneath, or specifically Dracomon, right? So let's say they play Flame Hell Scythe. You have Dracomon under. You suspend down for evade. Because you suspended, you're going to gain 1k DP. You're no longer at 0, so you avoid the deletion. But of course, you only have 1k DP. So there are times where that is relevant, where you can avoid deletion because your inherits give you DP. But other than that, you can't avoid being deleted by DP reduction. So if that explanation is confusing, let me know and we can kind of go back over that. Same thing for YouTube folks in the comments. If that's confusing, we can go back over that. Next, we're running 3 of the starter deck 8 Cordramon. He's a Cordramon, so you want him. Second, he has a security effect. He comes into play, draws you 2 cards. That's only happened to me a few times, but as you can imagine, free level 4s for this deck are great because it gives you a way to just digivolve into your level 5 and on up your ladder. Also, hard dropping him doesn't feel too bad to draw 2 cards as well. You could run this guy at 4 if you wanted to. I've seen some lists where people run him at 4. I've seen some where people run him at 3. I think it's a matter of personal preference. Test it out. See what's more important to you. I prefer running it at 3 so that I can have space for additional option cards in the deck. Next, level 5s. This should be no surprise to anybody. We're running 4 Wingdramons from EX3. He digivolves for 3 on top of a Cordramon. He has Evade naturally. And then on your turn, in your hand, Examon will treat this as a level 6 Digimon during DNA Digivolution, which is super important for this deck. I cannot stress that enough. And then end of turn, you may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and 1 other Digimon with Dramon in its name into a Digimon in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So, I mean, you use this for Examon. I guess, technically speaking, you could use this to go into an Imperial Dramon, technically. But that doesn't really matter. So you're going to use this for Examon. Just keep that in mind. So he gives Evade as his inheritable, and that is his natural effect. Same thing I said before, Evade is super helpful. Next, let's talk about Groundramon. Groundramon is the exact same as Wingdramon, only he's green, and he gives Blocker. This deck has so much blocking power, it's actually insane. I don't really think there's much else to say about this other than it gives Blocker, which is good. We like Blocker. So, next are level 6s. Now, this level 6, if you don't have Examon, can honestly win you games. And that is Slayer Dramon. So, Slayer Dramon has 12k DP naturally. He evolves for 3 on top of Wingdramon or Grounddramon. On all turns, when he becomes suspended, he unsuspends. So he gets 2 swings or 2 blocks or 2 evades, which is awesome. And then also at the start of your opponent's main phase, you can suspend one of your Digimon, or it shouldn't be you may, but by suspending one of your Digimon with Dramon or Examon in its name, you can force one of your opponent's Digimon to attack. Your opponent chooses which Digimon can attack, so that is important to remember. But with Slayer Dramon, what you can always do is suspend him down himself. He'll unsuspend via his own effect, and if you have the blocker inheritable, you can block whatever it is that your opponent is swinging with. Now, you can do some super nasty shit with this card, in tandem with Examon, but even by himself, he is capable of winning you games. So, awesome. We love that. Next, the other level 6 we're going to be looking at, we're only running 2, and that is Break Dramon. Break Dramon is a really cool card, especially in principle, but you will find that you will not use the effect by itself as much as you would think, as in, like, he won't be a body that you have out on board by itself often. Just because, while it's good, you're really focusing on Examon and Slayer Dramon more. So what he does, he digivolves on top of a Grounddramon or a Wingdramon for 3. And then on all turns, once per turn, when he becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So that can be really cool if you have something like this going on, right? For some reason, they're both out. you can use Slayer Dramon's effect to suspend down the Break Dramon to suspend something else so that your opponent has one less Digimon to choose to attack with. But the key effect that really matters for Break Dramon is when one of your Digimon with Dramon or Examon in his name deletes an opponent's Digimon and survives, your opponent trashes the top of the security. So this is going to really allow you to put more pressure on your opponent because as you're blocking, you're also clearing security. So it allows you to play more grindy, longer games. And it actually gives you an interesting matchup against security control because with this, you'll be able to just keep trashing cards off the top whenever they keep playing their Magna Andromon or whatever the case may be. So that's it for your level 6s. Next, let's talk about level 7s. This should be obvious. We have 4, if I can pick it up, Examons. Phenomenal card, the boss monster of the deck. If you don't know what he does, this is what he does. DNA Digivolves for 0 from a green level 6 and a blue level 6. When Digivolving, you may place 1 green or blue Digimon with Dramon in its name from your hand at the bottom of the Digimon's Digivolution sources. So that way you can add your Break Dramon, which is great. When DNA Digivolving, you may play 1 green or blue Digimon card with Dramon in its name and 12k DP or less from your hand without paying the memory costs. So you literally DNA into Examon and then you play a Slayer Dramon for free, which sets up your pretty much your ultimate lockout combo, which will prevent your opponent from will keep your opponent kind of in raising or make them try some other way to out your board. It really puts on a lot of pressure. And for those of you guys who have been in the stream, you've seen what the hell this can do. So, yeah. Next, the one of level 7 tech is a Death X. Why not? You don't have to play this card. Like, if you're locals, you're not worried about Jessamon. You're not worried about anything going wide, like even Aegis Dramon. I don't really see a lot of people playing that, but even Aegis Dramon or, what's the other one? Bloom Lord Mon. Death X is cool because you might even be able to get him out for free. So, he explains himself. All right, Tamers. We're running 3. Davis Motomiya. Davis is arguably the best blue Tamer, especially for this deck. You drop him down, he gets you he's a memory setter. He gives you a blue and a green card, so that's the entire deck. Aside from Death Exmon, he can search anything, which is awesome. And then, yeah, that's it. You could run him at 4 if you wanted. I have him only at 3 because I felt like 4 was a little overkill. Like, I like to see him. If I don't see him, it's fine. And if I see more than one of him, it's cool, but not necessary, if that makes any sense. The last Tamer we're running is a Sword and Joe. Now, this Tamer is a flex spot. You could put Mimi and Joe in here from, what is that, BT8, BT9. You could put in, I wouldn't put in Mimi, but you could put Mimi in here. I've seen some people do that because you can use Mimi to suspend down and keep hatching and pushing stuff out. You could put Davis and Ken, which I would not recommend. Yes, gaining the extra 2 memory is cool, but the other effect doesn't do anything for you because Examon will automatically unsuspend when you Digivolve, DNA Digivolve. Like, it's not going to matter. That's not relevant for you. Sora Joe is great because, one, people are going wide this format, at least when you're looking at Bloom Lord or like a Jessamon. It won't really matter too much for Melga in terms of gaining your 2 memory. However, being able to strip out 2 sources could always be relevant depending upon what you're playing against. That is always relevant. And because this deck is going to force your opponent to play out cards individually to kind of build up top, being able to gain 2 memory is also relevant. I mean, there's been plenty of games where we've started to turn at 5 because of that. So, Sora Joe I think is the right choice if you're looking for a secondary Tamer. But try other things. See what you like. All right, let's go into options. Option-wise, we first have 2 Megadeths. This is an amazing card. I feel like this is like a requirement of any blue-green deck. Or green-blue, however you want to look at it. So you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to hand. It's great outing stuff for Blue Flare. Get rid of Decker Greymon or whatever the hell it is, and get those other cards in trash. Bouncing is always good. Next, Gigadeath. So this is a tech option. You don't have to run this. I love it. I've always thought Giga Death was really cool. Yes, it pays for 9. However, in a format where things may or may not go wide and where you yourself can suspend down your opponent's Digimon, being able to suspend 1 card and then send 10 cards, up to 10, to the bottom of your opponent's deck is cool. This has only come up for me like maybe twice, but like I also haven't seen it all that much in my hand because the game is usually over by the time I do. Or you see it in security and it's still useful because you suspend something and then you return 1 card to the bottom of the deck. So don't be afraid of the 9 cost. This can really be a get out of jail card, and really just help you, break boards and get out of sticky situations. Lastly, because we're playing blue, we have Ice Wall. Do I need to say any more? It's Ice Wall. It's a great card. I play Ice Wall. You need it. As a practical example, you could put your opponent to 1. Sorry. Okay, words are hard. So you could have the Slayer Dramon Examon out, right? You're at 0, you play Ice Wall, put them to 1, then it's their turn, you force them to attack, and now it's your turn again. See what I'm saying? You can literally make your opponent lose a turn. It's broken. It's so good that this is only 1. You can only play 1 because if you could play more than 1, it would be absurd as hell. Last but not least, the last card in the deck is Forbidden Trident. Now, this is an excellent tech card. I think that if you want to run 2 or even 3, and shout out to Huang Zero, he's the one who I was watching one of his breakdowns about the deck and got the idea from him. You'll give one of your Digimon plus 2k DP, which is great in the mirror, but not only that, you can return level 3 Digimon to your owner's hand on swing. So in the Jesmon matchup, you can get rid of Blancs. You can get rid of Betamons. You can get rid of whatever little 3 costs or level 3 is getting in your way. You can get rid of it with Forbidden Trident. And it's also not once per turn. So like Jesmon, if let's say you play it on Examon or Slayer, whoever, they will get to do it twice. So that can be cool. But yeah, guys, that is the deck. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys want to try this variant out or any variant, I'm really curious to see what people are going to do with Examon. I really think that the deck's going to be kind of slept on in some respects. Like I think people are really excited about it, but I don't know how many people are really going to put the time into mastering the deck. I think for me, this is what EX3 for me is going to be all about Examon. So for a lot of competitive events, this is what you'll see me playing and really iterating on this deck and really just trying to nail down on it because I fucking love it. Anyway, for those of you guys on YouTube, I will see y'all in the next video.